Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have the second to last of the brand new 2023 Collecta releases. We have the Anomalocaris, and this one looks really nice, actually. Again, it's one of those figures that I feel like might have potentially been a little underappreciated when it was announced, and maybe not all that hyped up, because I just feel like it's so much nicer than people are probably giving it credit for, and might be another one of those sleeper hits for the 2023 year from Collecta. Now, I have actually heard some people state that this is kind of an outdated design for Anomalocaris. Now, I don't know how true that is, because I don't keep up to date on this species very much. In fact, I'm not even all that familiar with the species. I know of it, I know a little bit about it, but not near as much as I probably should or could if I read up more on it. So to me, this looks like a great version of an Anomalocaris, but I have heard, again, a few people state that it's a little outdated as far as the appearance goes, but I can't say for sure because, again, I'm not too familiar with that. But again, as far as I'm concerned, I think it looks fantastic, so let's jump to a closer look at it right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt, you can see again that we've got the eyes kind of looking out here at us, and they are very nicely sculpted, very nicely painted as well. I like that they've given them kind of like variation of color. You can see this really neat bluish color up here as you lead down. It transitions to more of a yellow, and then of course the black here for the front of the eyes. And another thing that I love, first of all, if you look at it, the texturing throughout is, well, if my camera lets me have you look at it, you can see the texturing throughout is phenomenal. You can see the actual fine detail looks great. We have kind of like some bumps and stuff here and there throughout the course of the creature. And you can see that the paintwork as well is super, super nicely done. I love the tone of like this reddish coloration that we have for it. And on top of the red, they've given it this really cool kind of like a black speckling throughout the entire figure, and you can see it runs the whole length all the way out here in the front of our figure here. You can see, and it also darkens right here in the center quite nicely to that blackish tone, but the speckling again is a nice black, and it really adds some realism, I think, to the figure as far as having quite a bit of color variation throughout. And you also might be able to tell, just looking at it here and allowing the light to hit it, that the figure as a whole has a slight kind of a shiny look to it, a slight wet look to it, which is also pretty cool to see. And you can see as we lead out here, it darkens as we reach the tips to a blackish tone of color. And again, the underside is just as highly detailed as the upper side. As you run through here, you can also see a little darkening right there. As you lead down, we start to transition to a yellowish tone, but we continue to have the reddish tones here running along the outer edge of the Anomalocaris. And you can see again here running down the center of the figure, we do have that nice lighter tone of color, but there is actually a dark wash applied to this one, and that's pretty impressive. This is actually the first of the marine species that included the dark wash. I didn't think we'd see it on any of the marine species, but we do see it on this one, and it's highlighting the detail pretty nicely overall. And you can see as you move down, again, it is absolutely sculpted to the max, as every Collecta figure normally is as you lead out toward the tail. You can see we do return to those kind of reddish tones out here at the tip of the tail. And then up here on the top, we have a similar look, but overall we have darker tones, but we also have like variations of oranges up here on the top showing up throughout. But you can also, again, take notice to the fact that we have that kind of like black speckling everywhere. It is just overloaded with it, and I really like that. And again, I think the fine detail here for the underside is super impressive, but it's extremely impressive looking up here on the top. You can see all the kinds of like cracks and crevices. You can even see little areas of potential injuries for the Anomalocaris, and you can see again that we have that lighter tone running down the center of the back, but we continue to have variation again of the oranges and reds, as well as that black speckling as you move through the course of the entire figure. And I love how the center there, that kind of like yellowish tone or like greenish tone potentially, it's almost like a mixture of a yellow green, starts to diminish and then heads inward before transitioning away entirely as you lead down here toward the tail. And you again have more variations of oranges and stuff throughout, and you have a little bit of extra color here out on the tail of the Anomalocaris. As you can see, we have, you know, variations of reds and oranges and stuff out there. So as a whole, like, that is absolutely awesome looking, and again, a very, very welcome addition to my collection. Absolutely is a marine species, an aquatic species that I don't have in my collection, which is really exciting. And they absolutely took this one, knocked it out of the park completely, because it's probably one of the best versions that I've ever seen of this, no matter what you're looking at when it comes to, models or like resin models, things that any collector might pursue. This is absolutely one of the best versions of an Anomalocaris that I've ever seen. Now, as far as a size goes, and we have it up here on the turntable, not to, give us a different view of it, just so it's up a little higher toward the camera and you can see it a little bit better. But for a length, you are looking at about the almost 5.5-inch range. It looks a little closer to 5 from your angle, but I can get a little bit of a better angle from where I'm actually sitting. But I'd say it's very close to 5.5 inches or 14 centimeters in length. Now, a height, you're not really going to get much of a height for a creature like this. It's just not in the cards, I would say. So what we'll do is we'll jump to a size comparison and, of course, remove the turntable there and put it down on the ground, and then give you a comparison next to Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line, again next to the Anomalocaris from Collecta. And you can definitely see that it has pretty much exactly the size you would expect it to be. It's not massive, it's not super small either. It's a little on the smaller side, but for this species, I feel like it's a really nice size, and the size that we have has allowed Collecta to absolutely jam-pack this figure with a really nice detail and paint overall, so I would say it's pretty much a perfect size. And to kind of give you multiple comparisons here in one shot, we have quite a few different aquatic species from Collecta, a bunch of marine reptiles here next to our Anomalocaris to help to give you an idea of a size if you happen to have any of these figures. And then we follow that up by doing pretty much the exact same thing yet again with quite a few different aquatic species from Collecta. Unfortunately, I don't have any other Anomalocaris figures, at least to my knowledge anyway, in my collection at all to really compare with this one, so a little bit of a bummer as far as that goes, because I don't have any other figures like, the same species to compare it with, but at least we have lots of different aquatic species. But as far as non-aquatic species go, we've got a few more figures here with the Spino and the T-Rex from the Age of Dinosaurs line, again next to our Anomalocaris. And for one final comparison, we head to our randoms that I've been using quite a lot lately, as we have the Safari LTDU Tyrannus, the Schleich and Collecta Deluxe Dimetrodon next to the Anomalocaris, just to help to give you again one last idea of the size and the fact that it's not huge, but it's not super small either. So this brand new 2023 Anomalocaris from Collecta is another really, really nice figure, and that's pretty much the same can be said for every figure they've released. Like, it's impossible, honestly, to look at any of these figures in a negative light, because they've done such a good job, and Collecta continues to improve drastically every single year. In fact, I would say as far as the overall quality of their releases, this may be the best year yet from Collecta as far as realism goes. Like, their sculpts have always been phenomenal, and their paint's always been really good, but I think the paint jobs have gone from really good to pretty much excellent this year, as they've just added in a good bit of color to their figures, but also a lot of realism when it comes to the application of the paint, especially with the addition of all of these, new nice washes and everything, because it takes the model from looking like a painted model, a very nicely painted model, to a realistic living animal. And that is the overall goal, I would say, for any company that's producing a model. You want it to look like a living, breathing animal, or at least you would think they would. So Collecta absolutely is achieving that very nicely this year with pretty much every release, and this is another really nicely done model overall. Again, the sculpt is beautiful. We have a nice pose full of life with the model as it's swimming along. We also have, again, insanely nice fine detail throughout. It is extremely, extremely highly detailed. And on top of that, the paintwork is pretty much my favorite part of everything about this model, because initially when I had seen it, I was like, well, I don't know if, an animal like that would have coloration like that. It just seemed a little bit too bright to me, but actually having it here in hand, that is not the case. It 100% looks natural. It looks really well done. Super smooth transitions. Beautiful, very realistic application of the paint. Even the speckles, which could easily look just like paint splattered on the figure, looks like body color. It doesn't look like, again, paint just splattered on it. They did an excellent job of transitioning between colors, really subtle color changes, and just, again, really giving it an incredibly realistic paint job to go with an incredibly realistic sculpt. So as a whole, this is another absolute win for Collecta, and another figure that I highly recommend picking up. So if you are interested, of course, make sure you follow Everything Dinosaur. Pick it up when it goes into stock on Everything Dinosaur. Make sure you follow Collecta and their social media accounts as well. And of course, you could check the link that I will include in the description to Everything Dinosaur, where you will be able to purchase this when it does officially go into stock. And also, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.